just mentioned that life is a succession of nows. Now, let's look at successive nows. And the is, and what you have brought out. How, I don't know whether to use the future tense, but how do you think it will be in successive nouns, the concept of the is, what is now you're presenting to the world?
Is that the question, Charles?
Yeah.
How? Yeah. Okay. This is fun too, and I'm asked these things. So again, in this world, we decide something. We decide to build a house or create a car. So we want it to come out accordingly. Oh, I get it. Okay. So that's we want to. Experience, we want to meet that conclusion. I did the same thing with my business. It was great. I did a job, and when I was done, I felt there was a feeling of satisfaction there. Okay, I use that idea with the personal self. And so I get that part of it. Well, the bigger adventure here, the best part of this is to see what shows up from what is decided. That's the part I like. And sometimes people say, well, what's it going to be or whatever. Again, in a way, they're afraid of something, etc. And I get it. If they're afraid of change or what's going to happen or I don't know or whatever. Well, for me, you see, I just gladly step into the unknown because I know that what I'm going to recognize is going to be better than it was, and it will add to it. See, because that's how the is. And so, do I need to know? No, I really don't. Simply because to see the is one thing. To recognize this, yes, but to recognize the endlessness that it is, no, that's different. You can stand on the shore on the beach and see the ocean. But you don't see the whole ocean. You just see the part you see. But there's more ocean, right? Yes, you do. And it looks like it goes into the sky. It goes to the horizon. But you don't see all the ocean. But you can think, oh, okay, I see the ocean. You see, I get what you're saying. From the literal part, it's like, okay, I've seen the ocean. All right, what's next? But, when it comes to this isness, no, the part that I love is to be surprised because it's always better. And the boys know this. You see, that's why we all have fun together, and that's why they back me. Simply because that's how I see it. I don't have any funny expectations because I don't decide what life is. No, I wait to see what shows up. That's the best part. See, again, the world is self-convinced. The world is doing itself in because of how convinced it is. Look at the love people and the prayer people and the religious people. They're all doing this funny stuff, and it's getting worse because they're all tap lining. Yes, fine, have the love idea, but make it genuine according to a real reference and not just your emotional body and the things of this world, kind of like, oh God, please help me, or oh God, I don't like my neighbor. Will you get rid of him? I love you, God, but will you get rid of my neighbor? All these ideas that people are emotionally attached to that don't work, but they can't see that. But when it comes to the no, the best part of it is, and this is what I try to explain. Do you see the sun shining and how awesome it is? Do you know the next, you might say, ray of light? Can you define that? That is proceeding from it? Are you going to try and figure that out too? The best part of the is not to figure it out, because that's where the real surprise comes in, because it's recognition of, I don't know, I don't have to carry anything anymore. This is the part I love. You want real freedom? Give it all up. Just let go and take the risk to step into this unknown that already is and learn to see what you see. See? That's what it's all about. It's seeing. And then guess what? When you decide, you can be it. This is the seeing and being. And that's huge. And so look at your focus every day. What are you looking at? I look at things too. But overall, I'm focused on my intent. And that is to see and be what the is. That's it. Everything else is just whatever. I deal with it. And so, because that encompasses everything. And again, I like the unknown because it's endless. I cannot determine that. I don't try to determine that. I do decide things like the Vessel Project and the New Mexico, the real universal position. I do decide that. And people are thinking along the lines, okay, we'll do this or that, we'll do this plans or whatever. Well, guess what? It ain't going to be that. But everybody can do whatever they want. It's not going to be that. You got to see it. Yes, we're going to do physical things. And people are thinking, some of them were funny, and it's fun. It's like, okay, well, I only have so much time to go out there and dig. Okay. Well, again, see, that's what you're thinking. But do you want to see more? Is there more to it? Yes, there is. It's just going to be so much better than that, but you've got to see it. And so I don't know how many times I can say it, but that is the best part of the isness, to where it's not a consideration like the gods of man are considerations, you see? If you can take the time to see the difference, and so it's just like Columbus when he sailed the sea. He was shown certain things, but at the same time, he had to step into the unknown, and all you can see is ocean. So what did most people think in their minds? Oh, you're going to fall off the end of the earth because the earth is flat. All right. So again, who started that rumor? Whatever. All right. So, okay, you fall off. Where are you going to go? But anyhow, but he never fell off, did he? Oh, gee. So that conception, okay, it's like, okay, that's no good anymore. Okay, we went through that. That's no good. So the same thing with this isness. This is where it's like many people think, oh, Duane is, which I've said many times, is, oh, this is just another word for God. It's another word or idea for us to look outside of ourselves. No, that's not. It's an isness. It's not inside. It's not outside. It's recognizing this isness. It's not past, present, or future. It's the new nowness. It's the real nowness, and it's not the now that Eckhart Tolle talks about. He's got his own little mind frame with that, which is fine. Everybody can have whatever they want. My adventure is to continuously recognize every moment. You see, I realized at some point, hey, I can do this every moment because I'm the decider. You see? You have to decide to do that. You have to decide. And then to stand real. I stand real with the real guys. See, I'm like the little kid. I am. And Paul and Rebazar are the dads. They sit beside me. And sometimes Paul wears a wig, like the mom. He play the role. They're just being fun. And that's fine. I don't see or think of myself really as anything. I'm just managing this. I'm just like I said, I'm just the presenter here is what I'm doing. I use the Numan, I use Duane, the great writer, whatever. These things are fun. But I see them as just like what parents do. And whatever's next, they give me experiences of a particular, okay, that's of a particular. Those are experiences. And then I decide to recognize more so than what even they present to me. I decide that. But most people just go off the experiences, and it's like, oh, I had this experience, which is fine. The experience is one thing, but what supports that experience? Are you interested to see what supports it in a bigger picture? And so I have positioned myself where I just stand real with them. And I feel like the little kid, like about 12 years old. I remember this one experience where it was Ava and I in the house, and it was on the second floor in Rebazar. It's like he came home from work. It's like, oh, I have a dad. And so I saw how that statement I made, and I was like a little 10, 12-year-old kid, and Ava and I were there and as little kids, and I saw how that statement related to the movie Robin Hood with Kevin Costner, where at some point he had a confrontation with his brother, and all of a sudden it was realized, oh, I have a brother. He made the statement. You see, all of a sudden you recognize that, and that, etc. He came into that next point. And so this was the experience there. And that is a chosen position by me. I've chosen that position. I'm like the kid. So this is where I don't project all this funny stuff that everybody else does. They try to project their personality to be something. I'm focused on the is, and I stand the best that I can real with these individuals. I pay attention the best that I can. Nothing's 100% here, and they, if I'm out of this way or out of that way, they kind of nudge me, or they say something, or they show me something. They give me little hints, whatever. And so, but my real adventure, and they see this, they recognize it, is my adventure and every successive nowness with this is. That's why I called it the new nowness, because what was with the is was, and this is very real according to creation. What is now, and the isness life does not recognize that stuff anymore. It does not back it. It is not interested in old stuff. It's only interested in promoting something new and beneficial that makes sense with the all-natural environment, which is all life and creation and beyond that, etc., the situations that are occurring. This is what it is interested in, not the old nonsense that sounds good and that goes nowhere. So again, each individual decides their position, Charles. This is what's so cool about it. It will always be the unknown, and that unknown will even become bigger. See, when you read The Tiger's Fang, and it's a wonderful book, and you'll see that Paul described beyond what he called the fifth level or the deep dark border, whatever, and it was at that time it wasn't described as a level. I wanted to more define it, so I made the levels accordingly, and they have changed. They have changed. The is agreed, and the boys agreed. They all agree. It's the seventh level now. It's not the fifth level, which is, very interestingly enough, the subconscious mind, where Joni controls everybody. So anyhow, have fun, Joni. And so Paul described these invisible realities, and very well, according to his experience, which is fine. And you'll notice in Journey to Real Freedom, I really didn't describe it, because I see it as an endlessness. If you want there to be something there, fine. But to me, I like the surprise. I can decide anything I want, but I like the surprise with the isness. I just see myself, I just go to the end result. I just see myself standing with the is, and then looking at it from every angle I can, using the mind's eye and the imagination, whatever, for the personal self. But the real awareness does it of a particular, and the best part I like about it is I don't need form. I don't need the real part of the is invisible, but at the same time it's visible, like the sun shining. That's how I see it. It's like, this is how we describe it, Ava and I, in the pictures. We always put that ball of light up there. It represents the is. We need a reference here. And so it's just not the sun in the sky, but it looks like that, but it really doesn't look like the sun, does it? No, it's something else. And because we've decided that, just like the initiations when Paul was here, it is a real reference. And for those that can see it, and you look at the pictures, because of the intent of what we're presenting, it has a real relationship. It helps people out to better understand things. That's all. We're not selling pictures. We're not selling an idea. We're not marketing. We're presenting something so awesome. But again, that unknown, you decide that for yourself. But I like to be surprised. I like to see what's going to show up. And you know what? It only gets better. But I do decide things, just like I decided the galactic adventure with the Queen and whatever. And so the New Mexico position is something I've decided because I see what makes sense. We need to have our own real position for those that want to be part of this. And it's all the way in the physical sense. This is what I've decided, to where you don't have to go anywhere to recognize the real universe is. It's not going to be in a physical sense, but it's going to be with your real awareness, and there's a whole lot more to it. So you're just going to have to wait and be surprised and decide to be. That's a choice that each person makes. So again, it's continually, you might say, walking into this endlessness. And so there's a basic idea, but I want to see from that idea what's going to happen, because it's going to be a lot better. I know it will be, and things will show up, and then all of a sudden, oh, it's like, okay, we're going to add this, we're going to do this, whatever. Ask Kelsey. You know, we have basic ideas to things, and as we go along, and just like Val went through the Orange Coast College this last semester, and a step at a time, to where he finally made it through that funny stuff. And again, there was always surprises. Val could write a book on that. But these surprises, when the individual is ready and pays attention, adds to their experience to better understand the isness life is, and themselves, and everything all around. But it's that unexplainable reality that is always present, and I give myself the challenge to see if I can recognize it as it comes, as it is what it is. You see, because it already is what it is. Nothing I can add to it will make it better or whatever. You see? So again, I like the surprise, Charles.
We can say the new presentation in the new nowness is like a golden age within the Iron Age. And well, we know that looking at the history of the universe, of the physical universe, these ages are succeeded by a golden age is always succeeded by a less exciting age, where things are in a state of decline. So, from what you are saying, does it mean that we could have some surprises, that this golden age just continues unabated and defies what we have known about the physical universe, that it has a succession of ages? No, because I know here nothing is permanent. Something comes that is good, soon it is eclipsed, and then it will resurface again sometime. So I don't know.
Yes, Charles, you're wonderful. And that's very good. I'm glad you brought that up, because these things are fun. They all refer to something. And this is fun information that people can utilize, that they can put their attention on, that can help offset the old routines that are restrictions. So again, that's a decision that each person makes. And so it's interesting that you talk about a golden age. That sounds like, I remember that show Golden Girls. And so when you're past 70, you're at that golden age. But anyhow, so we're referring to something different. And that is that, yes. And here's how it basically works, and that is that for those that really do decide with their whole intent to stand real with this isness, whether they recognize it or not, but because they've made that decision, you will be shown accordingly to what you're ready for, but you must decide that. And yes, this is what the first step, the New Mexico thing is. And yes, imagine it like all of a sudden we just grab the sun out of the sky and we bring it right to the earth. And of course, it's going to be so bright that most people that are used to darkness, they're just going to run away, aren't they? So that's not the idea. But what we're doing is that we're providing this real light here for those that step up, and they will be the experiencers. Only those people that step into it will be the experiencers, you see? So it can be like anything. You have to be there, and this is where, yes, instead of it just being like a philosophy where you read the books and you do the New You sessions, or, we used to do the Hue and whatever, and you go to the inner or the real side to get your experiences. This is where I've decided to have it placed all here now, but you have to learn to recognize it. And so that is the idea. And so with that idea, there's no guarantees with it. Okay, there's none at all. But I like the challenge of seeing what will happen, and according to how life will allow whatever. See, that's the challenge that I take on. That's the risk to see. And, from the real side of what's taking place, it's working, but not everybody's going to see it. See? So this is the fun part. So this is actually when I decided UP, universal positioning. And prior to that, Paul started off with astral projection, then he called it soul travel, etc. The movement through creation. And he defined that. He said it's just through creation because there's no movement necessary in the real universes, or, the higher worlds, as he called them. And so again, but realistically, what the isness life is, now you can recognize that it is what it is. There's no movement anywhere. There never has been. These are just ideas. And so it's getting through these ideas which have become restrictions. So again, it's like being raised by your parents and they help you along, but at a certain point, until you get on your own, now you're restricted by what they've decided. They keep deciding for you, so you're restricted. So at some point, you decide to get on your own. And so this is where you decide to explore on your own. So, with this being said, yes, this golden age, well, it's interesting that you say that, and it is very true. We're creating a golden opportunity, and I'm going to give a reference to this. Was last week, as I go out the gate here onto the highway from the mobile home park that I live in here, a truck was coming down the hill, a big truck, a big diesel truck with a big box on the back. And I always look for these things to see if there's any fun little messages or whatever. And it was 4 words. Hold on a second, I just forgot them. Okay. Taste, that's pure gold. And so I saw this, it was right there, right in front of me, stopped at the stop sign, right in front of me. Taste, that's pure gold. It was huge. It was like 15 by 30, whatever, 4 words. Now, the word that's is really that is. Okay, there's the is, but it was that's. Taste, that is pure gold. Now, I see that with what I'm deciding in the physical sense, where the isness is also completely involved. The isness is actually split. This is a term, but it's more so than that. There's only a few people that know this, but I'm letting this known. The thing is that because you have the 5 senses, and what are they? Taste, touch, smell, seeing and hearing, etc. There's the taste to where you can taste it in the personal sense. This is what I've decided. So it's interesting that you bring up this golden age. Yes, it is. This is what is being decided. But you must step up. You must contribute in some way. You must stand real with it. It's a lot of qualifications. We're not going to just let anybody be part of this. You really have to qualify yourself. I'm not going to qualify yourself. I'm not going to qualify anybody. Qualify myself, and it's shown on the real side. People are given the opportunity to be part of this, but again, most people, their personal lives, their jobs, their relationships are going to come first. So guess what? You're going to miss it. those that I'm going to give an example here, and I can give any example. I'll use the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I've used this before. Yeah, you can, in the beginning, Richard Dreyfuss, who was the star of that, he was in some way building this little mountain, okay, out of clay. He was just doing it. He didn't know why. But until he actually physically went to the spot where things were happening with the aliens, okay, and what was taking place, he didn't have the experience, did he? So again, this is where, in the physical sense, and yes, the boys have said the world will know. But again, just like my neighbor down the street who makes my surfboards, we were talking one day, and he said, "Oh, you got these girls busy, don't you?" And I said, "Oh, you're referring to Kelsey and Ava and all the others?" And he goes, "Yeah, I see you guys on Facebook." See, he knows what I'm doing, but he still has to decide to become involved. Yeah, the world will know. The world knows we're here, but it still has to decide. This is where I freely talk to even the elites, because, they're listening. They're reading the books. Joni's using my stuff, whatever, for her business plan. I welcome everybody, but you got to prove yourself. And so this position is like that too. Taste that's pure gold. It's going to be completely in the physical sense, like a portal, but you got to see it, you see, and it had to be decided. It has to be decided, and it has to be managed, and it has to be so many things, you see, and not taken for granted. That's one of the things that's very important. And this is where the personal self usually takes almost everything for granted and giggles its way around. Okay, we all giggle, but this is very real, because what is the whole of life about? I stand real with the is, and I look at the is. And, in a way, it's like compassion for the is, because all the is interested in is survival. It just wants to continually survive. That's all, because of what it is. Do you see? And it's just like a mother with her child. That mother wants to survive, and she sees that child wants to survive. And it's really about survival. Oh, yes, we have our adventures, our thrills, whatever, fine. But it's really about survival, isn't it? And so, because I have recognized what I do, I see how the is and how it is everything. And I have this consideration for it in such a way that I see that it is only interested in survival. And so as we decide to step up and do something from where we're at, we are providing that support for it to survive, and by the very fact of presenting what we do for others to wake up and stand real and survive with it, you see? So with that, we'll let it go. Thank you, Charles. You're wonderful. We'll see you next time.